Season 8, Episode 8, The Parent Map.
Another episode that wasn't too bad.
Yeah, it was another one where it didn't feel like it ever slowed down. Like, it didn't feel like there was dead space. Everything was well filled in. And everything sort of followed from what was going on before. And it was a kind of a two-layered story to this. And it sort of tells the tale in two ways. Okay, because you had what was their name? You had Firelight, Starlight's dad, and Sunburst Mom's Stellar Flare with the committee. Because if you look at the committee, the development committee, they're all about planning and pushing forward. Whether it's all about the future. It's all about the future. It's all about the future. Push, 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 push. Forget about all that stuff. Push, push, push. Which you want to have some push towards the future. Like Sunburst says, like, yeah, I don't need a plan. I need a plan, but it needs to be my plan. And you need some planning. But if you go the other way, you've got Firelight's dad, who wants to preserve everything, seal it, and it sort of goes with how they treat their children as well. Like, Sunburst Mom is pressing him to have a plan, future, future, future. Worry about that. Worry about future, 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 and Firelight is, protect. Remember, just keep everything the same. Keep everything the same. Keep everything the same. Seal it away so we can't mess it up. It's like, yes, that's good in a way too. Remember your past and look towards the future. These are both good things.
No.
But some people are gonna say, oh, this is Rainbow Dash's parents thing. Okay, yeah, it's a little bit of that, but it's also a little bit of what was the name of that episode? The one where Twilight gets visited by future Twilight and then freaks out for a week. Because it had because it had Spike, who wasn't thinking about the future and gave himself a bellyache.
Oh yeah, the ice cream.
Yeah, and then Twilight, who was way too freaking, just on edge about the future. And he had
Pinky, because future stuff literally came to her.
Yeah, she was all about the future, and Pinky was somewhere in the middle, prepared, but not freaking out. Prepared and thinking about the future, but not freaking out about it either. So sort of a balance between the two, and that's what they're trying to kind of get with this episode. But yeah, so I mean, each of them doubly reflects how they try and treat the town is the same way they try and treat their kids. It's part of their sort of consistent personality.
I think so. Honestly, I can see why. I could see his mom like, oh my gosh, you did magic. You got your cutie mark in magic. Quick, let's hook you up in a magic school. And planning out his entire life, which just set him up for failure because his cutie mark is studying magic, not doing magic.
Yes, he knows the ins and outs of it, but not very good at casting it. which is as much as they, during this episode, and kind of, I may go back and start going through this in sort of a linear order, but to pick up what I forget. But as much as she's pressing them, oh, you've got to talk to you got to get, move to Ponyville so you can get more of these Cutie Mark missions.
Not how it works.
Yeah, it's not how, number one, that's not how it works. Number two, she seems like one of those parents that's really pushing their kid to be successful. And you do realize he's the Crystaller. I mean, for whatever it's worth, he's the Crystaller to Flurry Heart. I'm not sure.
That's just the glorified name for babysitter.
But
He is basically the godfather of the only alicorn baby in existence.
Yeah, so
How,
that seems.
of course, he has been also avoiding her for who knows how long, which could be that she doesn't even know any of this.
Yeah, which it seems like something that that's something he could have brought up. It's like, yeah, Mom, I'm actually a lot more successful than you realize because, yeah, I'm totally the Crystaller. What's that? Sounds successful. Yeah.
True. On that subject, as far as kids haven't seen their parents in a long time, I don't think Starlight Glimmer's father knows that she kind of enslaved a whole entire town.
Yeah, probably not.
And at this
That's
point,
gonna be an awkward dinner conversation.
So, what have you been up to since you left home? Oh, enslaved an entire town, went back in time and tried to erase the existence of Cutie Marks and destroy the entire universe. The usual.
okay.
I became friends with the Princess of Friendship, so it's all good.
What? What else was there? Anyway, so I guess at this point I'll just go to linear. Sort of my linear notes, and I'll skip around where I've already kind of covered. So we open on the.
Off of My Little Pony.
Sorry, what?
My linear notes, is that the spin-off of My Little Pony?
Yes, it's an entire series of books written by Twilight to show you history and magic and that sort of thing. It's a bit like Cliff's Notes, but for ponies.
Okay.
Anyway, so we have the parent map. We open on the Crystal Empire mail delivering with a sense of mail pony delivering with a sense of here we go again, a letter to Sunburst from Sire's Hollow, rather. Apparently, the male ponies there get carrots as tips.
Not a bad system.
Yeah. Especially if you like it.
Yeah, Sunburst stiffs them. He's apparently
wondering,
okay, that's in the middle of my ear. No, the remote controlled car. Perhaps
it's not a remote controlled car. It's a powered scooter.
Okay. Same electric motor sound.
Die.
Anyway, perhaps the mail system runs on COD. Carrot on delivery.
Mm-hmm.
Like cash on delivery.
Leave the jokes to Pinkie Pie.
Yeah, and pun.
I will not. I shall make jokes whenever it strikes my fancy. For I am evil. We Sunburst has gotten a lot of letters from Sire's Hollow. At which point, Sunburst gets the butt call. Confused at first, he's like, "Oh, it's my cutie mark's glowing. Wait, my cutie mark's glowing."
I know what that means.
Why am I yelling? So he gets back to Ponyville. Spike is bragging about being experienced with map missions, though he's only been called once. And he kind of caused the problem that he had to solve. Being classic braggadocious Spike.
Well, I mean, that's what Spike does.
Yes.
I
No,
can do.
that's him. That's him in a nutshell. Starbursts are both less than enthused about going back to their hometown.
I kind of feel them there. I hate my hometown.
Let's see. Covered that. Sunburst, when he meets with his mother, he totally saves his awesome goatee. It's like she pulls out the scissors and is gonna go for his goatee, and he just lifts it
He's
up
like,
out of the way.
You're not touching my hair, ma'am.
It's like, I'm not letting you touch my sweet goatee.
But you're not a goat, you're a pony.
Still, it's a sweet bit of goatee. Anyway, at this point, so we kind of see an old versus new thing going on here, like stuff that both sides are being a little too extreme on with old versus new. Like, the Preservation Society going with, sealing up the bookstore and having Founder's Bread, which seems like it's only enjoyable by the Pie Clan. It manages to break a table and a cart. It's like, I hope you like crust.
Maybe it's the same recipe that Gilda used for her scones.
That's very possible. But, I mean, given that it's an ancient recipe, it's the first settlers of Sires Hollow, this is what they had. It's like, yep, they also had horrible teeth. But yeah, the new going too far, the gate, she realizes it's annoying. It's like, and that seems like that would take all of about 10 minutes to realize that that's going to get annoying, because the first thing that's going to happen is some juvenile ponies are going to go over there and do exactly what Starlight did. Or was it Starlight or Sunburst? Whichever one was just opening and closing it in rapid succession. It's like, some little filly or colt went up and did that. It's like, I'm being annoying. Ha 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 ha.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. The Essence Pony, at this point, chases down ponies with her bottles on one of the occasions. It's like, yeah, you're, yeah.
Come sniff my junk.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Wow. Anyway, and then you get the fruit smoothie business where you can no longer buy fruit, but you can buy it in smoothie form.
How do you get the fruit in the smoothie then if you don't have the fruit for the fruit vendor?
It's
the smoothie,
synthetic fruit.
The smoothie people get the fruit and they buy it directly from some place outside of Sires Hollow, bring it in, and then smoothie it, and they don't sell it as normal fruit.
I think Applejack would be ashamed.
Yeah.
Well, so long as they're apples, whether it's in smoothie form or, you know, apple fritters or whatnot. I'm sure she's like, as long as you're getting apples in there. Eh. Uh, at this point, the way too early in the episode, the parents work it out to try and balance their efforts with the town. Um, uh, covered that. We find out Starlight had a punk phase. Or I'm not sure what
I
that
did not
was.
see that coming.
Was that punk or goth or metal?
I think it's
It's hard to tell because usually you can tell that by what the pony themselves, what the person themselves wears. Like a lot of the same things. They collect a lot of the same things, whether it's punk
Well,
or
maybe
metal or
that-
goth.
Maybe that's why she likes Maud so much. They both had a rock phase.
And that got the perfect amount of silence that deserved.
Stop. Both of you leave the jokes to the professional.
Like myself.
Yeah, no.
No, like me. I'm the biggest joke of them all.
This is true. Only because you're taller than Dex.
I'm
Well,
not sure. I think
mean,
we're
how
roughly
tall
the
is
same height.
Dex?
I'm
6'2"?
about 6'2", just a touch under it.
Yeah, I'm 6'2".
Yeah, so we're probably about the same height. Anyway, Firelight, Starlight's dad, wants to start at the beginning of the town and work through all the backstory. He infantilizes her with her old blanket, milk, and cookies. Stiller, on the other hand, is far too proactive. She tries to create a contrived friendship problem a la Lesson Zero. There's not a friendship problem. I'll make one. It also turns out the Preservation Society mayors are really into rustic living and prefer they retain their natural scent. Part of the fake friendship problem was the Essence Pony refusing to buy books. Unless they reverse the decision, nobody can buy books anyways. Which we'll come back to in a minute on that one.
Well, no, see, they can buy the books.
They
They
just
just
can't
can't touch them.
It's a bit like sponsoring an animal at a zoo. It's like you can't take
Yeah.
them out of the zoo, but you can pay for them anyway. To which at this point the two hide from their parents, eventually meeting with some of the town's ponies in the bookstore. Apparently they did reverse that decision. You can go in there and look at the books and hold the books and whatnot. They quickly point out that they are avoiding their parents. The town's ponies. Okay, first, logic here. You tried hiding from a history buff in the antiquities section of a bookstore. Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's like trying to avoid Twilight by going to a Star Swirled or Bearded Expo. It's like, it's not the best idea. It's not the best strategy.
Actually, no. I mean, the Twilight one, that would be a good idea. Just dress up as another Star Swirl and just blend in with the crowd.
Yes, but you'd still be going, if you're trying to avoid where she is in the first place, that's not a good place to hide if you're trying to
Or
avoid,
just-
you
Or
know.
just have the sick Discord with you.
Anyway, also, we have confirmation of Gallup Fran technology again, because the interior of the bookstore seems to be 2 or 3 stories minimum based on where we see Firelight descend from. Like he's up a ladder out of shot. So So it's like 2 or 3 stories tall. The inside of this, but like the store itself is like, oh yeah, this is just a normal height building, normal single story building, and it's like Dr. Hooves has been there, hasn't he?
He's always been here. Dr. Hooves is the reason why we can understand all the ponies.
And it's also the reason we can't understand what the freaking timeline is pre 1000. Nobody can figure it out because Dr. Who's has been about and around that so much, trying to fix everything, try to keep things from getting thrown around too much. The parents get excited about how much they are helping. This illusion is quickly shattered by 2 very frustrated ponies. Which we get this nice little exchange. There's like 3 little exchanges here that are really, really well written. I really love these exchanges. It's like, Stellar Flare, I'm sorry, you don't want our help? Firelight, that's ridiculous. What reason could you possibly have for that? Starlight, because you're driving us crazy. Stellar, oh really? And just how am I driving you crazy? Sunburst, by always coming up with plans. I don't need a plan. I mean, maybe I do, but it'll be mine, not yours. Stellar Flare choking up. Well, I'm sorry for trying to help. Starlight, and you're not any better. I'm not a filly. I'm a grown pony with a job to do, and I'll do it on my own. Firelight, well, I'll let you get to it then. Starlight, great. Now we have to smooth things over with our parents on top of finding and solving a friendship problem. Sunburst, it's almost like our relationship with our parents is the friendship problem.
Yeah, it took you that long to figure it out.
I don't think they didn't want it to be that, so it was a bit of a bias on their part.
And they're just like, they're not my friends. Although I kind of think I kind of could see them. I could kind of see him hanging out with her dad and her hanging out with his mom.
Yeah, there's something to that. Also, where the heck are their other parents? Where is Starlight's mom? Where is Sunburst's dad in this whole thing?
They were eaten by a manicore.
Oh, okay. That was so perfectly timed.
I'm just trying to that.
I mean,
serious.
I don't want to say glue factory.
Oh, good. Anyway, continuing on with what I was saying, that yeah, Starlight's. You don't think that's it, do you? Or the baker who's been standing off camera this entire time is like, that's what all of us think.
Yep.
To which Starlight says, "Why couldn't we have been sent to stop a war or something?"
You know, something easy like that.
Yes.
No, the war stopping was already done by Fluttershy and Twilight.
Yep.
Yeah.
McColts and the whatever, I forget. Sunburst is another little exchange. It's like, no, I came to apologize. Starflower, well, it's going to take more than an apology to make up for telling me you don't want my help finding your friendship problem. Oh, I'm not sorry about that. Starlight and I already figured out what the problem is. This is a terrible apology. That's so brilliant. Firelight. In another section, we get Firelight. I'm sorry, Sugarman. I just know how hard things were for you when you left home. I guess I wanted you to feel safe, like when you were young. Glimmer says, Dad, I know I've made some mistakes, and I'll probably make a bunch more, but I learned from them. I think that's what growing up is. Sunburst. I'm sorry I never told you how much your plans bothered me, and I know you just want me to succeed, but I need to do that on my own. To which Stellar Flare replies, I remember how lost you were when you flunked out of magic school. I thought as long as you had a plan, you'd never feel that way again. Sunburst. You don't have to worry, Mom. I need to find my own way, and I definitely don't feel lost anymore. Shimmering sounds. Just the organic baker again. That's beautiful. Stellar Flare, the glowing cutie mark is such a symbol of accomplishment. I don't suppose there's a way for you to get it to glow all the time. Sunburst, pretty sure it doesn't work that way. Starlight, not unless we solve a friendship problem every few seconds, and I kind of hope this one will be it for a while. It would be interesting 2 seconds after they walk off screen. Oh no, not again. Isn't there a cooldown on this? Firelight. You know, it seems to me your map is saying we're not just your parents, we're your friends too. Starlight. I guess so. Firelight. So if I promise to treat you less like a little filly and more like a friend, will you visit more? Starlight. Absolutely. And if you start to drive me crazy again, I'll tell you instead of never coming home. Starlight Flare. That's lovely of you to say, dear, but you know, I can't always visit you. Which this really strikes at, you know, he's more passive. Firelight's more passive, where Stellar Flare is more proactive.
Yeah.
Firelight. Stellar, you're a genius. How do you feel about a road trip? Stellar Flare. I might have a few plans for that. To which she pulls out several scrolls and is like, okay, Twilight has plans. That's more than what Twilight has usually on hand at any given time. It's like, what if this happens? Oh, to get this plan. It's like,
Yeah. She's got contingencies for contingencies for contingencies.
You know, I think Twilight and her would be good friends.
I could just see her going to visit Sunburst, and Twilight's there visiting her niece, and they meet up and they're just like, I have a plan for that. And Solar Flare's like, I never planned for this. Why didn't I plan for this?
or they both have to. Something comes up and they both need. They need to. They're both there. Twilight and Stellar Flare are both there, and then like something comes up and they're like, I don't know what to do. I have a plan. So do I. Oh.
I'm the princess.
Discuss.
My plan goes. It's like, oh my gosh, the princess. I don't have a plan for that.
You know, or Twilight doesn't have a plan for that, and you know, she wasn't prepared for this, and then Stellar Flare. It's some really obscure, ancient, 1,000-year-old villain that comes out of nowhere, and it's like Stellar Flare just walks up with a plan. It's like, oh yeah, I got a plan for that. What? How could you possibly have a plan for that?
Is
I
that
have a plan
uh,
for everything. Quite literally, everything. Twilight may monitor everything, but Stellar Flare plans for everything. Anyway, any final words for this? And more tightly written, pretty good, funny.
if they're it'd be funny if their two parents started dating, so Glimmer and Burst
They're
became
siblings.
brother and sister.
Step siblings.
Yeah. But then you have the Starburst shippers. Well, then the incest isn't necessarily always a. Oh, it's not really
Yeah, but
incest.
it's technically not real incest.
I mean, it's not blood but it's still. You're
Well, is there a
technically
name for
sibling.
that when brothers and sisters date, but it's not blood related?
I think it's
I have no
still that, but it's not like as much of a problem because it's not genetic, but it's still creepy, and it's still weird.
Mm.
Or there's that song "I'm My Own Grandpa," where he married some woman he married some woman whose daughter married his dad and had a kid, and this and that, and so he ended up being his own grandpa because he had a kid who became his dad's brother. So he was his own uncle's father and all that. It's one
Yeah.
of those old like folk songs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh. But yeah, it was. This was funnier and more tightly written. It was good.
Yeah.
I hope we continue to climb in quality this season. Oh, any final thoughts before we wrap this thing up for review?
No, I mean, I'm just waiting
According
for a
to,
Discord episode.
according to the law, step siblings are still considered incest.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's not as it's just not as bad. It's still weird, but it's not
It's
as
weird, but I
bad.
personally don't have a problem with it because
But
you're not going to get any genetic disorders.
Yeah.
it's just socially weird. Because
Yeah.
we don't know if they were in fact swallowed by a manticore. The missing parents were swallowed by a manticore. They could have just been out of town, and it could be funny because those two could really get along just like super well, but like the other two don't get along at all. Uh, anything else?
No.